Hey, what's up? This one focused hard on smoothing things out and trying to get rid of some of the game-breaking stuff that has been driving players up the wall for weeks now. Players have been pointing out a bunch of persistent bugs that have been hanging around, stuff that has made both competitive and casual matches feel rough at best and unplayable at worst. So what we're doing here is breaking down the kinds of fixes this update was likely aiming at, how it might affect your play, and the real-world experience players are still talking about after the patch. Something that has been a seriously common gripe for a ton of folks is that stuttering in head-to-head mute games. Imagine you're marching downfield, it's a big play, and suddenly the game starts juddering like it's glitching through time, lagging frames, jerky motions. And it's just on one platform either. Plenty of PC players especially have been reporting this over and over, and some of them found workarounds by tweaking settings like turning off things like on-field visual feedback, which seems to affect performance a crazy amount for some people. Whether Update 1.015 fully obliterated that issue across the board is still up in the air because EA didn't spell it out, but stability work was supposed to be a big focus on this patch. Another pain point that players have been dealing with is desyncs right before kickoff in multiplayer franchise mode, especially in fantasy draft games where you spend time setting things up and then boom, the connection drops or the simulation doesn't stay in sync between players. That one alone has caused more than a few heated messages in threads online from folks who were hyped to play with friends only to get booted right as the action was about to start crashing, and random disconnects have also been a big theme. There have been people reporting crashes during mute, crashing back to dashboard, or games just exploding out of nowhere for no clear reason. And while the patch notes weren't exact on which of these were fixed, there are community reports and coverage of this update that list game crashing and stability fixes as part of what was addressed quietly in this release. That's one of those things where you notice it the second it doesn't happen. So hopefully for many of you, that particular frustration has gone down a bit. Then you've got some classic weird bugs that have been hanging around for a while. Things like a random black screen on PC, where you load into a game and just get stuck staring at nothing, or the superstar mode not working properly when you try to create or progress a player, and the presentation or audio side of the game has issues like teams that don't have crowd chants, even when the stadium is packed. These kinds of immersion-breaking glitches don't ruin gameplay as much as some others, but they definitely take you out of the experience. And this update was intended to push fixes in that direction as well, based on the list of known issues players have been talking about since late January. Another one that people get salty about is a bug with cleat colors. Sounds small, but when you're all about customization and making your squad look right, having the wrong colors show up on cleats or gear can be super annoying. That's something that's shown up in the known issues list and is the kind of thing that would be a quality of life fix in a patch like this. Not earth-shattering, but appreciated if it finally gets sorted out. It's crazy to think that a bunch of these bugs are still floating around months into the game's lifecycle. But that's exactly where Madden has been this season. Players have been really vocal on forums about issues that pop up every couple of games, and even after previous patches earlier in February, like Update 1.0113, which had more visible gameplay changes and additions like new X-Factor superstars, there were still things that needed ironing out, and players hoped Update 1.0115 would be. One weird thing is that because EA didn't put out a proper changeline for this update, there are a lot of mixed reports, and players still testing things themselves to see what's fixed and what isn't, which leads to a lot of speculation online. Some threads have people saying certain issues feel better, others saying they're still there, and that's just part of the reality when the devs don't lay out what exactly was tackled in the patch notes. All that being said, the goal of this update seems to have been clear. Prioritize stability, performance, and squashing long-standing bugs rather than giving us shiny new features or big additions. So if you play a lot of MT, franchise, superstar, or just general games online with friends, keep an eye on how things feel now compared to before. You might notice fewer crashes, fewer desyncs, and maybe a more consistent experience overall. If not, at least you know the community is loud about it, and EA usually follows up when enough people are reporting the same behavior. That's basically the situation with Madden NFL 26's 1.015 update. In a nutshell. Quiet but important fixes for a long list of annoying issues that have defined a lot of the player experience so far this season. Let me know how it's treating you in your next game.